Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. The international break is finally over. I just got done watching the Brazil versus Argentina game, a match where Lionel Messi takes his team off the pitch because the Brazilian police are battering with batons Argentinian fans. Enzo Fernandez, maestro performance, no goals and assists, but if you watched him, he was magnificent, and Chelsea-Newcastle is only 3 days away. We're going to go through today, we're going to discuss a little bit about who could start as striker at the weekend against Newcastle, with some doubts about whether or not Nicolas Jackson's going to be ready. He's going to be arriving late from duty with Senegal. His wife or his girlfriend, I'm not sure, has just given birth to a child, so maybe Armando Broja is going to start. Christopher Nkunku, he's also ready. But without any further ado, we begin with the news. Chelsea remain the most likely destination for Victor Osimhen. This is being reported by the Mail Sport. I made a video last week saying that I believe Chelsea will sign Victor Osimhen. And I think when we talk in this video today about Jackson, about Broja, about Nkunku as well, I think whatever happens outcome-wise between, is Nkunku going to be used as a number 9? Is Armando Broja going to be able to score enough goals if Nicolas Jackson isn't firing? Chelsea have got 3 strikers here that all have got massive potential. Christopher Nkunku is of an age where he can absolutely come into this team. He's got all of the ability. There isn't really any weaknesses there. But still, the rumours are Chelsea want to sign an elite level striker. Napoli are adamant that there's not going to be any move sanctioned for Victor Osimhen in January. But based on what we were discussing in yesterday's video about potential point deductions for Chelsea if the charges that are being faced by the club are actually proven, then we might get a point deduction. You never know. A transfer ban is always something that they love to hand out to Chelsea Football Club. So if we can kind of get a deal done for Victor Osimhen in January with Man United potentially interested, Arsenal, maybe Liverpool as a Mo Salah replacement, maybe Spurs are interested as well. Don't see the geezer going there, if I'm very honest with you. Chelsea is still the most likely destination. I love Victor Osimhen. I think it's an exciting signing. I think he is a top striker, and it would alleviate some of that pressure that Nicolas Jackson is under to be delivering week after week in the Premier League. So far, so good. But that is currently the updates regarding Victor Osimhen. We move into Simon Phillips' report here. Chelsea plan to return for Michael Olise in the summer. It looked as though Michael Olise, if we remember back to that summer transfer window, what a great time for content that was. It looked as though Chelsea were very, very close to signing Olise. There were rumours also that Manchester City were in the race, and then kind of out of nowhere, he signed a new deal to stay at Crystal Palace. I absolutely don't for 1 second believe that means that clubs aren't going to come back in to try and sign the player come next summer. And if Chelsea are going to be in that race, then I think again it kind of depends on what we see from Noni Madueke, who's a player who I feel as though has come under unfair scrutiny because he's not really been playing. He's not had a sniff, whether that is a Pochettino thing, a tactical thing, a systemic thing. Noni was one of the brightest sparks in the second half of last season. I think people seem to be forgetting that. And because he's not being given many chances, people are just putting him under the bus for no apparent reason, having not seen the man really play football. Very, very odd behaviour from some members of the Chelsea fan base, but each to their own. Mudryk as well, we'll see what we can get from him. Sterling, we know the Raheem Sterling story. If he's on form, he's on form. If he's not, then he's not. It's just how many of those are we going to catch where Sterling wants it and how many when Sterling doesn't. But Michael Olise, exciting player, missed the beginning of the season with Palace due to an injury, but Chelsea are reportedly back in the race come next summer. We move now to discuss a centre-back who has been pretty much on the cards to leave now for the whole season. Trevor Chala, Bayern and Borussia Dortmund are both out of the race for Trevoh Chalobah after another muscle bundle tear. Sounds like a flipping meal deal, this one. The 24-year-old will only be match fit again at the end of January. Trev is not really having much luck here, to be quite honest. He keeps getting injured. I think he had a brilliant weekend at the F1 in Las Vegas last weekend from the pictures that I've seen. But for whatever reason, managers just don't seem to fancy him. When Trev plays, I think Chelsea have a really competent centre-half. It's one of those where I don't know if it's a tactical thing. I don't know if at the club we're looking at it and there's still that little nudge to say, well, this is a player that we can sell for pure profit. It's total green arrows on the books. I think Trev is a really good centre-back, to be honest. I think if he's happy to stay at Chelsea, which we've seen that he has been, and he's willing to kind of play that bit part role where he's not going to be first choice. Maybe it's cup minutes, maybe it's injury minutes, which is always a given at Chelsea considering the extensive list of players in the defensive areas that we've had injured. But at the moment, it looks as though even a January move is not going to be possible for Trev due to a muscle bundle tear. I've got absolutely no idea about this one. I will ask a physiotherapist and get back to you in due course. The next story. This is an interesting one, isn't it? Romelu Lukaku, arguably the worst player in the world or the best player in the world on his day. He's been scoring goals for fun. He's having a brilliant season with Roma, scored 4 goals, I think in the first half or the other day. He scored a hat-trick in 10 minutes and then got a 4th against Azerbaijan in a 5-0 win for Belgium. Fabrizio Romano, Romelu Lukaku has something like a release clause, but not a proper release clause. It sounds like one of those Trevor Chalobah meal deals we were just talking about. There is a gentleman's agreement between the players' agents and Chelsea. There's a possibility for him to leave for 40 million euros, and that's not just for Roma, that's for any club. Right, I'm going to put this one to bed because the longer Romelu Lukaku doesn't have a permanent suitor, the more goals he keeps scoring, the more heads keep on turning, as if it's some kind of Love Island episode when a nice, good-looking one walks in from the ocean. Do you know what I mean? Romelu Lukaku cannot ever play for Chelsea again. I don't care if the man is scoring a hat-trick every single game. His attitude is so poor when it comes to understanding what being a Chelsea player means that no matter how well he's doing anywhere else, this guy will never be able to buy into what being a Chelsea striker is. The pressure is too high. He cannot cope with the pressure. He goes to somewhere like Roma. Of course he scores goals. He's a good Serie A striker. The Premier League is a level above that. He should not at any point be considered to return to Chelsea. Even if, I would say, let's say there is massive point deduction. Let's say there is a transfer ban. Let's say that Romelu Lukaku has to come back to Chelsea next summer. Nobody wants to spend the 40 million euros on him. I don't think there's a world where we can see Romelu Lukaku play for Chelsea again. And it leads me directly in to discuss the Armando Broja, Nicolas Jackson, Christopher Nkunku discussion, particularly as we build up to this massive away game against Newcastle at the weekend. The updates as of right now. Nicolas Jackson will be arriving late from international duty with Senegal. His girlfriend or wife, I'm not entirely sure, should have researched before. She's just had a baby. He's posting cute photos on the internet. He's going to be arriving late. We've got to go to Newcastle, which is a mishwari, all the way from London up to Newcastle. We couldn't be going any further if we tried for a Premier League fixture. Does that mean, after the little cameo that we saw against Manchester City, that burst of pace, the strength in the box to win that penalty against a very physical Newcastle side, is this the perfect opportunity for Mauricio Pochettino to give Armando Broja a start in this match against Newcastle? It's the big question that I would love to hear your opinion on in the comments down below. With Jackson coming back late, is he going to be fully head in the game? We've seen with Enzo, his wife has a baby, and then all of a sudden, the man just disappears in terms of top quality performances. Might not be the same with Nicolas Jackson. He scored 4 in his last 2 in massive games, but is this the chance for Armando Broja? I've got a funny feeling it might be. You have Jackson on the bench, of course, and then you add into that little melting pot of opportunities and possibilities here for Chelsea. Christopher Nkunku is back in full training. We can see him with all of the boys. He's training with the squad now. We have been waiting for this moment for so long. I want to do a video specifically dedicated this week to Christopher Nkunku. What does it mean for a Jackson? Does it have an impact on Mudrik's minutes, Sterling's minutes, Cole Palmer? This guy, I think, is so good that no matter what happens, we've got to get him in the team. For the Newcastle game at the weekend, if for whatever reason, having Armando Broja through the middle or Jackson doesn't work, off the bench, Christopher Nkunku can be that guy. I think he could be an impact player to ease him back into fitness. It was a serious injury. He's back significantly earlier than we initially anticipated him to be. The rumours were it would have been January, February. To return at the end of November is brilliant. To see a player being able to build fitness and recover from an injury that was serious that quickly is very exciting for Chelsea. It gives us options. He's dynamic. He loves to integrate with other players. We saw a connection immediately in pre-season between Nkunku, Jackson, Mudryk as well. He's a player that will get other players involved. I think Cole Palmer, we obviously didn't see Palmer and Nkunku together. That is a combination that I think will work incredibly well for Chelsea. But going into this game against Newcastle, with all the things we know about Jackson, with Armando Broja's little cameo against City, with Nkunku's return, will we see a surprise from Mauricio Pochettino? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that in the comments down below. Let me know that in the comments. And I will see you guys tomorrow, where we're going to talk in more detail about Christopher Nkunku. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you are new. Come on, you Blues.